Good morning. You're watching Breakfast Show. I'm Preeti. With me is Rukma, and in the next 1 hour, we'll get you to everything that's making it to the headlines. Let's begin this day, this beautiful Friday morning, with a beautiful thought. Rukma, it says that be willing to be a beginner every morning, and it is this beginning, it is this positivity, this optimism, which will carry on with you all through the day, and make sure that it becomes a special one. Stay with us for the next 1 hour. We have got everything on the platter to make sure that your tea or coffee in the morning tastes even better.
Well, a very good morning, Preeti, and to all our viewers as well. It's a newsy day, lots of stories coming in from across the country and the world, which we'll be bringing you in the next 1 hour in our breakfast news segment. A close look at what the Prime Minister said in his engagements yesterday. Also, the DDC polls set to start tomorrow, to be held tomorrow in Jammu and Kashmir. History in the making there. Our reporter on the ground to tell us all about it. Also, news from sports and the web as well. Over the next 1 hour, stay with us. Let's begin with the headlines.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi rolls out red carpet for investors in India's renewable energy sector. Pictures India as a global manufacturing hub and preferred investment destination for renewables. Proposes national hydrogen mission. He reiterates his government's resolve to fight against climate change.
Minister of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, Narendra Singh Tomar, appeals to farmers to end their protest. Says new Farm Act will prove beneficial to them in the long run. Minister invites delegation of farmers for talks on the 3rd of December.
Government extends emergency credit line guarantee scheme through ECLGS 2.0 for 26 identified sectors and healthcare sector. Modified scheme will contribute to economic revival, protect jobs and create conducive environment for employment generation. Duration of ECLGS 1 also extended.
Jammu and Kashmir gears up for first local body elections after State Reorganisation Act implementation. 8-phase election to 20 district development councils in the Union Territory to begin tomorrow. Special polling stations for Kashmiri migrants set up at Jammu and Udhampur. Necessary COVID protocols put in place for ensuring safe polling.
New boost to India's fight against COVID-19. Phase 3 human trial of country's first indigenous vaccine, COVAXIN, begins at AIIMS, New Delhi. Vaccine is being made in collaboration with India Biotech and ICMR. ICMR also completes second round of National COVID19 Zero Survey.
Men in Blue return to international cricket after more than 8 months. Indian men's cricket team to take on arch rivals Australia. In opening ODI of 3-match series at Sydney today, Virat Kohli and Aaron Finch will lead the two teams.
Alright, those are the top stories. We'll get to the news in detail now.
And we begin with news about how Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday inaugurated the 3rd Global Renewable Energy Investment Meeting and Expo, also known as RE Invest 2020. The Prime Minister said India proposes to launch a comprehensive national hydrogen energy mission. He said that after the success of PLI in electronics manufacturing, the government has decided to give similar incentives to high-efficiency solar modules.
We are proposing to launch a comprehensive national hydrogen energy mission. After the success of PLI in electronics manufacturing, we have decided to give similar incentives to high efficiency solar modules. Ensuring ease of doing business is our top priority. We have established dedicated project development cells and FDI cells in all ministries to facilitate investors.
The Prime Minister said that India's progress in the field of renewable energy was an outcome of its commitment in fighting climate change. He said India was among the few countries to be on track to achieve the 2-degree compliance goals.
We are showing to the world that sound environment policies can also be sound economics. Today, India is among the very few countries to be on track to achieve the 2-degree compliance goal. Friends, our transition to cleaner sources of energy has been driven by the approach of access, energy efficiency, and evolution.
He invited investors to join India's renewable energy sector, saying India has a very liberal foreign investment policy for renewable energy. The government, he said, wants to make India a global manufacturing hub in the renewable energy sector.
We want to make India a global manufacturing hub in the renewable energy sector. I will give you several reasons why you should invest in the sector of renewable energy in India. India has a very liberal foreign investment policy for renewables. Foreign investor can invest on their own or collaborate with an Indian partner to set up renewable energy based power generation projects. India is progressively focusing on innovative bids for supplying 24/7 power from renewables. Solar wind hybrid projects have been successfully explored. The demand for domestically manufactured solar cells and modules is like to be around 36 gigawatt over next 3 years.
In Jammu and Kashmir, preparations are in full swing for unprecedented District Development Council elections. Voting for historic elections will take place in 8 phases. Voting for Phase 1 will take place tomorrow, while for the second phase, voting will take place on 1st of December. There are 260 candidates for a total of 43 seats in the first phase and 386 candidates for 41 seats in the second phase. Counting will take place on December 22nd, following voting in all the 8 phases. For the first time in these elections, refugees from Pakistan, Valmiki community and Gurkhas are also getting the right to vote. Talking of preparations, Jammu and Kashmir Election Commissioner K.K. Sharma clarified that all arrangements have been made regarding elections and especially security so that these elections, which are going to be held in the state for the first time in 70 years, can be conducted in a peaceful and smooth manner. All right, our correspondent Rama is joining us to get us more on that. Rama, DDC elections to begin tomorrow, and this is unprecedented in Jammu and Kashmir, given the fact that for the first time these will be conducted in 70 years. And also, we've told our viewers how refugees from Pakistan, Valmiki community and Gurkhas will be given the right to vote for the first time. I would want you to spell out more on the elections, the preparations, and how, you know, in more what terms are these elections significant?
Yes, good morning, Preeti and Rukma. And as you said, these are historical elections this time, because first time ever in the history of Jammu and Kashmir, DDC elections are being conducted when the power is really comes to in the hand of common men in rural areas, in far-flung areas. They will choose their representatives according to their will, according to their aspirations, and this DDC will replace the present planning and board development planning board, and the chairman of the council, he will decide what will be happen. In that way, it is very important, because now it is in the hand of the people. The kind of development they want, the kind of long pending demands should be fulfilled. So they are seeing a ray of hope. And as you mentioned in your report, western Muslim Pakistani refugees, Valmikis, Gurkhas, they are now, they got the right to vote in these kind of elections also. Earlier they were entitled to vote only for parliamentary elections. So they are feeling very happy because now they are feeling that in all means they are the citizens of India. They have all the right, they have the right of equality, which is the basic rule of the democracy. So the real definition of democracy will be fulfilled by these elections. And if you talk about the preparations, all the preparations are being done by administration, whether it is security, whether it is COVID protocol for free and fair elections. And in each polling station there will be sanitization machines and a strict vigil to see whether COVID protocol will be followed or not. The election will be held from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the last hour will be for COVID affected persons. So each and every person can vote. All the arrangements are being done for that, Preeti.
Right, Rama, and when we talk about the interest and the excitement generated by these historical polls that will be held for the first time in 70 years, it has laid, we believe, very interesting battlefields. Most of the prominent, almost all prominent political families, almost all prominent and not so prominent political leaders, anyone with political aspirations, in fact, we believe, have jumped into the fray. Give us a sense of the kind of contest that we will see, the interesting candidates that have been put up, also something a little bit about the Gupkar alliance and so on.
Yes, Rukma, very interesting. According to your statement, if we see that all the previous political parties which denied previous polls, Panchayat polls and BDC polls, they boycotted those polls, and now they are coming into this fray. And the way independents, the way young people, the way women are coming into the fray, the whole scenario is very interesting this time. At one hand, BJP is there with the agenda of development, the way central government has done developmental works here after 370, back to village happened, ministers came to villages and the official machinery went to common men. Earlier it was a kind of, they can't imagine even the DC will come to their home, the joint secretary, they are coming to, ministers are coming to their houses and asking them what should be the planning for you, what are your aspirations, what do you think about government policies, will there be any rectification in that or not, and how would they become more beneficial for you. So one hand BJP is explaining these kind of things and they have the agenda of development. On the other hand, the other political parties, they join hand against one party, they join hand against BJP, and they are claiming that they will create a situation before August 19. So these are the things, but when we talk to common man, I don't know what are their strategies, but they are saying that now they will vote for development,
right.
Now they will vote for their new avenues, now they will vote for equal rights, and now they want to live like the equal own right citizens like other parts of the country. So these things are making this election very interesting.
All right, so the elections, they are instilling more confidence in the people there, in the voters there. Thank you so much, Rama, for joining us with those inputs.
And well, more news now from Jammu and Kashmir as well as other parts of the country. One army Jawan attained martyrdom in the border district of Poonch due to ceasefire violation by Pakistani troops. Pakistan Army resorted to unprovoked ceasefire violation on the line of control in Poonch sector. Alert Indian troops responded strongly to the enemy fire. However, in the exchange of fire, Subedar Swatantra Singh was critically injured and later succumbed to his injuries. Earlier, 2 army soldiers were martyred in the line of duty in a terror attack near the HMT area on the outskirts of Jammu and Kashmir's Srinagar. On Thursday, the soldiers were part of an army patrol team that came under heavy firing from terrorists. The army team was deployed to secure roads for security convoys.
The Statistics Department will publish GDP growth numbers for July to September quarter today. It is expected that the contraction in growth in quarter 2 will be much lower than the 23.9% decline reported in the first quarter as economic activities resumed in most of the sectors after COVID-19 induced lockdown. A number of economic indicators have shown gradual signs of pickup, pointing towards overall economic recovery in the country. In fact, by September, indicators like vehicle sales, real estate, manufacturing, PMI and railway freight earnings had outstripped September 2019. Barring the agriculture sector, which grew 3.4% during first quarter, all other segments were in the red during the first quarter of 2020-21. Just ahead of GDP numbers for the second quarter, RBI Governor Shaktikant Das has said that the Indian economy has exhibited stronger than expected pickup in momentum of recovery.
After witnessing a sharp contraction in GDP by 23.9% in the first quarter of the current financial year and a multi-speed normalization of activity in the second quarter, the Indian economy has exhibited stronger than expected pickup in momentum of recovery. The global economy has also witnessed a stronger than expected rebound in activity in the third quarter. IMF has accordingly revised its assessment for global growth in 2020 to a less severe contraction than what was originally assessed in June 2020. Even as growth outlook has improved, downside risks to growth continue due to the recent surge in infections in parts of Europe, other advanced economies, and also in parts of India.
All right, to talk more about it, our correspondent Arun Sharma is joining us. Arun, a word of positivity coming in from RBI Governor. Also, when we talk of the economy rebounding, the pickup which is witnessed in the economy, I would want you to elaborate on what were the main reasons apart from the economic activity resuming after the lockdown period.
Good morning, Preeti. Good morning, Rukma. Well, indeed, all eyes will be on the quarter 2 of this financial year as far as the GDP numbers are concerned. We know this fact that in the quarter 1, the country had witnessed a lockdown, and for which we have seen that most of the economic indicators were in negative. When we talk about some of the prominent sectors like manufacturing, it showed a contraction of close to 40%. Construction activity showed a contraction of close to 50%. So barring agriculture sector, all the major indices, that means from July, August and September. So these 3 months are very much crucial because country was in an unlock phase in this quarter, and that's the reason, apart from agriculture sector, all the other sectors were also in unlock position. So yes, we can expect some decent numbers. So the reason behind all these positivity primarily is that we are expecting that the PMI numbers primarily, which is an important indicator, which is constantly showing the number of more than 50. As of now, the PMI number that we are witnessing is of close to 56. So anything above 50 is considered to be very good. So as far as manufacturing sector is concerned, a rebound is very much expected. As far as construction activity is concerned, the manufacturing activity is concerned, they all are opening up. The car sales, the auto sales primarily are showing a positive trend. GST collection is, when we talk about the GST collection, on a month-on-month basis, again we are witnessing close to 1 lakh crore of that important mark that the GST collection target are concerned. So on the GST front also, the collections are increasing. So all these economic indicators are towards a rebound in the GDP numbers. Although when we talk about a quarter year-on-year basis, the GDP numbers are likely to be very much less, because last year in 2019 for the quarter 2 the GDP was at 4.5%. No doubt the GDP will be in the negative only. This time also it is very much likely to be negative only, but this sharp rebound is expected from the quarter 1 numbers of 23%. So we can expect, as IMF also has revised its targets, Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikant Das also looked very much optimistic because of the huge demand that was created ahead of the festive season, and that's the reason why the Q2 GDP numbers will be very much significant. And the way the stock markets reacted yesterday, specifically after the statement of the Reserve Bank of India Governor's statement that the economy is rebounding very much faster as far as the trend reversal is concerned, yes, the GDP,
All right, I think,
a contraction of 23%.
all right, Arun, there's some distortion in your audio there. We'll end this conversation here. Thank you for joining in with those inputs. And moving on, Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has said that the government is ready to hold talks with farmers and discuss issues. Talking to media, the Union Minister said that the new Farm Act will prove beneficial for the farmers in the longer run. He appealed to the protesting farmers to not agitate. He said that they have invited farmers for talks on 3rd of December and expressed hope that dialogue will have a positive result.
किसान भाइयों और बहनों को पंजाब में कुछ भ्रम है, तो हम लोगों ने भ्रम दूर करने के लिए सचिव स्तर पर भी वार्ता की। मेरे स्वयं के स्तर पर भी चर्चा हुई किसान यूनियन के लोगों से, और उस दिन चर्चा पूरी नहीं हो पाई थी, तो हमने कहा ये चर्चा जारी रहेगी। तो मैंने 2-3 दिन पहले ही सभी किसान यूनियन को 3 दिसंबर को पुनः बैठने के लिए अनुरोध किया है। मैं आपके माध्यम से सभी किसान भाइयों और बहनों को अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं कि सरकार पूरी तरह चर्चा के लिए तैयार है। चर्चा के माध्यम से ही रास्ते निकलते हैं, इसलिए कृपा करके वो अपने आंदोलन को स्थगित करें, चर्चा के लिए आएं और हम उनका चर्चा और स्वागत करने के लिए तैयार हैं।
And the government continues to smoothly procure kharif 2020-21 crops at MSP from farmers as per existing MSP schemes. The government's paddy procurement has increased by 18.35% to over 307.03 LMTs till November 25th in this kharif season, with Punjab contributing the most. Out of the total purchase, Punjab alone has contributed 202.53 LMT, which is 65.96% of total procurement. Total paddy procurement of 259.41 lakh tons was made last year. Nearly 27.81 lakh farmers have already benefited from the ongoing KMS procurement operations with MSP value of 57,967.79 crore rupees. According to the Ministry, MSP procurement of paddy in this Kharif 2020-21 marketing season is continuing smoothly in Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh. Further, till November 25th, the government through its nodal agencies has procured 86,199.73 MT of moong, urad, groundnut pods and soya bean, having MSP value of 465.05 crore rupees. The total procurement has benefited 49,736 farmers in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana and Rajasthan so far. Similarly, 5,089 MT of copra having MSP value of 52.40 crore rupees has been procured, benefiting 3,961 farmers in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu up to 25th November as against the last year corresponding purchase of 293.34 MT of copra. Procurement operations of seed cotton under MSP are also going on smoothly till November 25th. The quantity of 25,49,404 cotton bales valued at 7,527.31 crore rupees has been procured, benefiting 5,13,960 farmers.
And the Phase 3 human clinical trial of COVAXIN, a vaccine against novel coronavirus, began at AIIMS in New Delhi on Thursday. Dr. M.V. Padmasrivastava, the Chief of Neurosciences Centre at the Premier Institute, and 3 other volunteers received the first dose. Dr. Srivastava was the first one to receive the first trial dose, which would be given to nearly 15,000 volunteers in Delhi's AIIMS hospital in the next few days. The Phase 3 randomized double-blind place-spoke controlled multi-center trial would cover around 28,500 subjects aged 18 years and above. It would be conducted in around 25 sites across 10 states. The trial has already started at a few sites. The developed potential anti-COVID virus, that is COVAXIN, is being created by Bharat Biotech in collaboration with Indian Council of Medical Research. As part of the trial application, a dose of 0.5 ml would be given on day 0 and on day 28.
The Indian Council of Medical Research has completed the second round of National COVID19 Zero Survey. The first round of National Zero Survey in India was conducted in May to June 2020 among adults from 21 states. The second Zero Survey was conducted in August to September 2020 to estimate the nationwide zero prevalence for SARS-CoV-2 infection in the general population aged 10 years and above. The household Zero Survey was conducted among individuals aged 10 years and above in the same 700 villages and onwards from 70 districts selected during the first Zero Survey. The survey covered 29,028 individuals aged 10 years and above in 700 villages of 70 districts in the country during August to September 2020. 16% urban slum dwellers, 8% urban non-slum dwellers and 4% rural population were infected with COVID-19. Nearly 1 in 15 individuals aged 10 years and above estimated to be infected by August 2020. Majority of Indians still are vulnerable to COVID-19. Preventive measures need to be enhanced.
And now we get to an update on the COVID-19 situation from across the country. India has leaped across a significant milestone in its fight against COVID-19. The number of new daily cases has been below the 50,000 mark for the 19th consecutive day. Nearly 44,000 new confirmed cases were reported as on Thursday, while over 36,000 people have recovered successfully. With cumulative recovery of more than 86,79,000 people so far, the national recovery rate has reached 93.66%. The recovered cases in the country stand at nearly 20 times the number of active cases. The caseload of the country also continues to remain below 5%. The total active cases in the country as on Thursday stands at 4,52,344, which comprises merely 4.88% of the total reported cases.
And the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport has created a dedicated zone for domestic passengers arriving from Delhi, Goa, Gujarat and Rajasthan who are required to undergo the RT-PCR test upon arrival at the airport. Passengers will be directed to the test zone located near the baggage carousel to undertake the test before exiting the airport. In keeping with the latest edict from the state of Maharashtra, passengers arriving at CSMIA from Delhi, Goa, Gujarat and Rajasthan are required to provide proof of a negative RT-PCR test prior to boarding their flight or undertaking the to undertake the test upon arrival at Mumbai. Since the implementation of the new directive on 25th November 2020, CSMIA has tested over 200 passengers arriving from these earmarked regions, of which none have tested positive for COVID-19.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a three-nation visit, will today visit Seychelles in the last leg of his tour. The minister will present greetings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the newly elected President Wavul Ramkalawan. Also, earlier, the External Affairs Minister paid a two-day official visit to UAE on November 25th and 26th. During the visit, Dr. Jaishankar called on Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and held talks with his counterpart, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Dr. Jaishankar briefed the UAE side on the progress made by India in dealing with COVID-19 pandemic, both on the health and economic front. Both sides reviewed their cooperation on various facets of their comprehensive strategic partnership, including trade, investment, infrastructure, energy, food, security, and defense. External Affairs Minister and the UAE Foreign Minister discussed recent regional and international developments and agreed to continue coordination on various multilateral issues. The External Affairs Minister also virtually met the representatives of the Indian community associations in Abu Dhabi. In his virtual meeting with the representatives of the Indian community in Abu Dhabi, the External Affairs Minister appreciated the work of the Indian associations in taking care of the community during the COVID pandemic.
National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will visit Sri Lanka today to participate in the 4th NSA level meeting on trilateral maritime security cooperation. The two-day meeting will begin today in Colombo. The NSA-level trilateral meeting has served as an effective platform for cooperation among Indian Ocean countries. Apart from the Defence Secretary of Sri Lanka and NSA Ajit Doval from India, Maldives Defence Minister Maria Didi will also participate in the meeting. The meeting will provide an opportunity for discussion on issues pertaining to cooperation in maritime security in the Indian Ocean region. On the sidelines of the trilateral meeting, NSA is also expected to have other high-level bilateral engagements.
Five COVID-19 patients lost their lives in a fire at the ICU of private Uday COVID Hospital in Gujarat's Rajkot late last night. About 33 patients were admitted to the hospital and there were 11 patients in the ICU when the incident took place. The incident took place at Uday Shivanand COVID Hospital. The other patients have now been moved to other hospitals and fire has been doused. And up next is our segment Across the Globe, wherein we get you updates from the international world.
US President Donald Trump said on Thursday that he will leave the White House if the Electoral College votes for Democratic President-elect Joe Biden. In the nearest he has come to a concession, Donald Trump said if Biden is certified the election winner by the Electoral College, he will depart the White House. The Electoral College is due to meet on the 14th of December. Trump made the comments at the White House after speaking to US troops during the traditional Thanksgiving Day address to US service members. Trump has so far refused to concede the election and continues to claim without evidence that the election was marred by widespread fraud and that he and not Biden won it.
In other international news, Democratic President-elect Joe Biden is considering naming a veteran diplomat and national security advisor to former President Barack Obama, Tom Donilon, as the director of CIA. The CIA position could be one of the most challenging in Biden's administration after 4 years of Republican President Donald Trump accusing the agency of being part of a deep state conspiracy seeking to undermine his presidency. Biden is also said to be considering Michael Morrell, who was CIA's deputy director and acting director of the agency twice under Obama. He has already picked other Obama administration veterans for major national security posts.
And the King of Thailand urged his supporters to speak out against fake news, which had been the victim of, he claims he has been the victim of distorted information. The king is under pressure after months of demonstrations from protesters demanding a new constitution, which is an end to political repression and a reform of the monarchy, they say. The king's critics also want him to cede control of a royal fortune worth tens of billions of dollars. Thousands of protesters demonstrated outside Thailand's biggest bank to protest against the king. Police built siege barricades of shipping containers and razor wire around the Crown Property Bureau, which manages the royal assets and where the rally had originally been planned.
Argentina's President Alberto Fernandez joined scores of fans to say goodbye to soccer great Diego Maradona, whose casket lay in state at the Casa Rosada Presidential Palace in Buenos Aires. Fernandez paid tributes to the soccer star, laying a red T-shirt with the number 10 that had been part of his nickname. Maradona battled various health problems and was hospitalized earlier this month for a surgery of subdural hematoma.
And now an update on the COVID situation from across the world. As of now, more than 6 crore 12 lakh coronavirus cases have been reported worldwide, with over 14 lakh 36,000 deaths. Over 4 crore 23 lakh people have recovered from the virus. The United States continues to top the list among worst hit countries by the pandemic so far, with the highest number of infections. The US has recorded over 1 crore 32 lakh cases, with a death toll surging past 2 lakh 69,000.
Americans celebrated Thanksgiving Day with traditional Macy's parade limited to a television-only event, and many families resigned to meeting on video for turkey dinner. Thanksgiving has been upended by the pandemic, with cases and deaths surging in recent weeks as cooler weather pushes people indoors where the virus spreads more easily. America reported 108,063 new infections with a total of more than 1.32 crore cases of COVID-19 till now.
In Russia, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin on Thursday extended a recommended self-isolation period for residents older than 65 and those in COVID-19 risk groups through New Year until January 15th as a precaution against the pandemic. COVID-19 cases have surged nationwide since September, although authorities have resisted imposing a stringent lockdown, stating that targeted measures should be enough. Sobyanin also said at least 30% of staff at companies in the capital who had already been told to work remotely as a precaution should continue to do so until January 15th. Moscow has been reporting reports of thousands of new coronavirus cases on a daily basis. On Thursday, Russia reported a record high of 25,487 new coronavirus cases, including 6,075 in Moscow, bringing the national tally to 21,87,000 cases.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has warned of long months ahead in the fight against COVID-19. His comments come as the government announced final details of a regional system set to take effect when blanket restrictions on England's 55 million population end after a month-long lockdown, dictating the terms of daily life for the country's citizens and businesses. London will be placed in Tier 2, avoiding the toughest rules from December 2nd and allowing pubs, restaurants and bars to open. Britain has recorded more than 15,74,000 COVID-19 cases with over 57,000 deaths.
Several thousand people working in the restaurant, bar and nightclub sector protested in France at Marseille's Old Port, demanding that they be allowed to reopen as France eases lockdown measures. Some protesters set off flares and smoke bombs as they marched to the office of the senior representative of central government of the region, where they were granted a meeting to convey their views. France will start a phased easing of the lockdown this weekend, imposed to curb a second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Non-essential shops to reopen from Saturday, while museums and cinemas will be able to welcome visitors again from December 15th, while the hospitality sector is to reopen from the 20th of January. Officials cited concerns that cafes and restaurants where people remove masks to eat could allow the virus to propagate. Again, France has recorded more than 21,83,000 COVID-19 cases with over 50,000 deaths.
The World Health Organization's top emergency experts have said that the introduction of a COVID-19 vaccine should allow the world to gain progressive control over the disease next year. WHO's Mike Ryan said that life as we used to know it, I think very possible, but will have to continue with the hygiene and physical distancing. Vaccines do not equal zero COVID. He also said that vaccines to our current measures will also allow us to really crush the curve, avoid lockdowns and gain progressive control over the disease.
A medical facility in New Orleans that was among the 120 sites around the world participating in the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine trial is now gearing up for distribution. Director of Infection Control and Prevention at OSHNA, Kathy Baumgarten, has said that she feels very confident in the process of handling the vaccine and knows they can hit the ground running as soon as the first doses arrive. OSHNA had about 230 people from across Louisiana enrolled in the trial. Both Pfizer and U.S. Health Secretary Alex Azar have said that FDA could authorize the vaccine in mid-December. Pfizer applied to U.S. health regulators on November 20th for emergency use authorization of its COVID vaccine, showing that the vaccine was 95% effective with no major safety concerns. Pfizer has said it expects to have 50 million vaccine doses ready this year, enough to protect 25 million people.
All right, so we see that different progress has been made across the world when we talk of the fight against COVID-19, the vaccine against COVID-19, and also to our viewers, we've shown how India is also planning the third phase trial of the indigenous vaccine, COVAXIN. Up next is the time for a web review, wherein our colleague joins us with the headlines which have been picked up from social media platforms.
And joining us, as we were telling you, is our colleague Nancy Kohli with all the latest that's trending on Twitter and on social media. Nancy, what's the news you have for us today?
Good morning, Preeti and Rukma. Yes, let's to take you and our viewers through what's really making it to the headlines this morning. Well, let's begin with the Hindu there. The RBI governor saying recovery is momentum stronger than expected. Well, India's economy has exhibited stronger than expected pickup in momentum of recovery following a multi-speed normalization of the activity in the second quarter, the Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das has said. In fact, he also said that the IMF has accordingly revised its assessment for the global growth in 2020 to a less severe contraction than what was assessed in June. Moving on now to this news that I've picked up, the engineering in mother tongue in select national institutes from 2021. The Education Ministry has said now that it will push for technical education, especially the engineering in mother tongue from the next academic year, and some of the top engineering schools in the country will offer them from 2020-21 academic year. While a seminal decision was made to start the technical education, especially engineering courses, imparting education in mother tongue will be open from the next academic year. Moving on now as to how really the world markets reacted out of yesterday. The world shares hold close to record highs. US markets of course closed for Thanksgiving. The global stocks held near record highs on Thursday, while the rally in European stocks paused as recent vaccine progress, Joe Biden's US presidential election win, and the hopes of further stimulus kept the markets bullish. Now, the world equities are having their best month reportedly on record in November. That was boosted by a slew of positive vaccine announcements and hopes that Biden's administration will deliver more economic stimulus and political stability. And moving on now to also news that we shared in our bulletins as well, and this also has been vastly covered in the web and the newspapers this morning. Thousands lining up to bid farewell Maradona in Argentina, while tens of thousands of fans eager to honor Diego Maradona lined up to file past the coffin of the Argentina's most iconic soccer star on Thursday. And in fact, the fans also blew kisses as they passed Maradona's wooden casket in the main lobby of the presidential building, some also striking their chests with closed fists and shouting there, "Let's go, Diego." Well, that was all the news this morning in the web review. Preeti and Rukma, it's back to you for the rest of the news.
All right, thank you so much, Nancy, for joining us with that web review. Up next is the time for BizPass, wherein we get you updates from the world of business.
The government has launched ECLGS 2.0, the Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. The scheme provides 100% guaranteed collateral-free credit at capped interest rates to eligible entities. It has also extended ECLGS 1.0 to certain previously ineligible entities. ECLGS 2.0 covers the 26 sectors identified by the Kamath Committee and the healthcare sector. Under this, entities with outstanding credit above 50 crore rupees and not exceeding 500 crore rupees as on 29th February 2020 are eligible for the emergency credit line. The entities shall be eligible for additional funding up to 20% of total outstanding credit as a collateral-free guaranteed emergency credit line. The loan would be fully guaranteed by National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company Limited. The loans provided under ECLGS 2.0 will have a 5-year tenor with a 12-month moratorium on repayment of principal. No annual turnover ceiling has been prescribed under ECLGS 2.0. Moreover, ECLGS 1.0 also has been extended to entities previously ineligible, owing to annual turnover exceeding 250 crore rupees. The modified scheme will provide an incentive to member lending institutions to enable availability of additional funding facility to the eligible borrowers. The scheme will help economic revival, protecting jobs and create conducive environment for employment generation.
And after business, we'll now move on to our next segment, Sports Track. Let's see what's making it to the headlines in the world of sports.
We believe that, well, cricket, India
Yes.
back on track again, the men in blue on a tour of Australia.
And Team India is all set to kickstart their full-fledged 2-month tour to Australia with a 3-match ODI series beginning in Sydney today. Virat Kohli will continue to lead the men in blue in the 50-over format, while KL Rahul will serve as his deputy in the absence of a regular vice-captain Rohit Sharma. Amidst COVID pandemic, all limited overs matches will be held behind closed doors with a biosecure bubble owing to the pandemic. It is said that the Indian batsmen may not have to face the traditionally bouncy pitches in Australia. However, defeating Australia at their home turf will still not be as easy as it may sound. Last time, Indian team played the series of 3 ODIs against Australia in January 2019. After losing the first ODI, Team India won the series 2-1. So far, 140 ODIs have been played between India and Australia, out of which Team India has won 52, Australia has won 78, while 10 matches ended in a draw. Kohli's Team India for ODI series includes 2 wicket-keepers, KL Rahul and Sanju Samson. 16-member squad has all-rounders Hardik Pandya and Ravindra Jadeja. Spinners include Yuzvendra Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav besides Jadeja. Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Shami will look after fast bowling. Fast bowler T. Natarajan has been included in the ODI team. He is a part of team's T20 squad and has been included in the ODI team at the last moment. Natarajan has been brought in owing to fast bowler Navdeep Saini's back injury. All right, Tapas is joining us to get us more on that. Tapas, it's a good beginning, a good, a good way to look forward to the cricket fans when we talk of India versus Australia ODI series after a gap of almost 8 months. Let us know what is to be expected.
Yes, absolutely, Preeti. And let's just say that India's team, 2 down under starts with the first ODI in SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground. And the latest update is that Australia has won the toss and opted to bat first. For Australia, Steve Smith makes a comeback in the squad. And for India, let me just give you the playing 11. Shikhar Dhawan and Mayank Agarwal at the top. Then Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, Ravindra Jadeja, Mohammad Shami, Yuzvendra Chahal, Saini as well as Bumrah. So we got they've gone with 3 pacers. Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah and Saini will be the 3 pacers, and Chahal and Jadeja will be the 2 spinners, and they will definitely have the services of Hardik Pandya. Though Hardik has not bowled in the IPL, and it seems that he still has some sort of a discomfort for long spells. Otherwise, he would have been slotted as the 5th specialist bowler. But that is the current team as of now, I can tell you. And it's 8:50 right now. 9:10 at the first ball will be bowled. So let's gear up for the tour down under. It is supposed to be an exciting tour. The ODI will be there. The test matches will be there. Though we will be missing Rohit Sharma in the playing 11, but it would be a great chance for Virat Kohli and company to seal a win in this particular series. And Virat Kohli will be in fact itching to make a mark in this series. Remember, he is just less than 100 runs short of making it 1,000 runs in the ODI against Australia. If he managed to do that in this ODI, he will become the 3rd Indian batsman after Sachin Tendulkar and Rohit Sharma to score 2,000 or 2,000 more than 2,000 runs in ODI against Australia.
Right, Tapas. Well, we'll have to leave it at that for now, but a very interesting match ahead well, the toss has already been won, so the ball has been set rolling. The men in blue back in action once again. Let's take a look now at our next segment, Health, in which we give you health tips that make your day even better. The winters are here, and infants and children demand extra care during these months. Young children have developing immunity and are more prone to infections. Let's know more about the measures that are effective to keep children safe in this cold weather with our reporter Kiran Bharadwaj.
Winter season may increase the risk of infections and diseases in children.
Winters have arrived. What we are going to see more often now is that running nose, sneezing, coughing, fever and respiratory distress. These are the common symptoms that you will usually encounter. If it is only a runny nose, some fever, some cough, it's likely to be a viral, where you give a symptomatic treatment. Home remedies like ginger and honey are as good as any cough syrup, and within usually 4 or 5 days they resolve. The danger signs would be that if after 4 or 5 days the fever is still coming up and the child at any point of time is not able to feed well, the child is very irritable, the child is very lethargic, you think that there is the respiratory distress. So in these conditions you need to show to a doctor urgently.
Cover the children properly and take precautions to prevent the winter-related illnesses in children.
When you take a child out, especially in these winters, try to keep the child well covered. And the most important clothes would be a cap, a gloves and socks. And of course, instead of one thick cloth, try to keep multiple layers. And the advantage is that if suppose at one point of time it is too cold in the morning, by afternoon it may be so hot that the child may become uncomfortable. So you can decrease and increase layers of clothes depending on your comfortable. So another important issue is that how to know how many layers are to be worn by the child. So especially in a newborn, whatever layers you are wearing, you give him one extra layers of clothing. Up to 6 months of age, all children are to be exclusively breastfed. It gives you not just nutrition, it gives you certain bioactive factors which will provide immunity to the child also.
Do not ignore the warning signs and take the child to the hospital in case of emergency. Kiran Bharadwaj, DD News.
Alright, so that was the detailed report of ensuring good health of your little ones in these approaching winters.
And well, it's the 27th of November today. Let's take a look at the major happenings that made this day special in history.
On this day in 1881, India's famous historian and internationally renowned scholar of archaeology Kashi Prasad Jaiswal was born. Jaiswal works Hindu polity and history of India 150 AD to 350 AD are classic of ancient Indian historical literature. On the same day, 1888, Ganesh Vasudev Maulankar, popularly known as Dada Saheb, was born in Barodara, Gujarat. He an independence activist, the president of the Central Legislative Assembly, then Speaker of the Constituent Assembly of India, and later the first Speaker of the Lok Sabha, the lower house of the Parliament of India. On the same day in 1940, martial art expert and Hong Kong American actor-director famously known as Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco, California, USA. Lee is considered the pop culture icon of the 20th century, who bridged the gap between East and West. His movies like Fist of Fury and Enter the Dragon and the technique Jeet Kune Do are very famous. On the same day in 2019, ISRO successfully launched PSLV C-47, its third generation Earth observation satellite Cartosat 3 and 13 commercial nano satellites from second launch pad of Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota into Sun synchronous polar orbit.
Alright, that was about the events which made this day special in history. Time now to get you weather report.
The deep depression over south coastal Andhra Pradesh and neighborhood moved north-northeastwards and weakened into a well-marked low-pressure area and lays centered over south coastal Andhra Pradesh and adjoining west central Bay of Bengal. Under its influence, light to moderate rain at many places with heavy falls at isolated places likely over coastal Andhra Pradesh in the next 24 hours. Fishermen are advised not to venture into west central Bay of Bengal and along and off south Andhra Pradesh coast in the next 12 hours.
Also, there would be a fall in minimum temperatures over northwest India. Cold wave conditions at isolated places likely over Punjab during 27th and 28th. Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi during 26th to 28th and North Rajasthan during 28th to 30th of November.
Already rain thunder showers observed at most places over coastal Andhra, many places over Himachal Pradesh and others also. Let's take a look now at temperatures across the country. Well, that was the weather, and we've come to the end of this edition of Breakfast News. And as we go, as always, we leave you with glimpses in order to cheer you up at the beginning of another day. Argentinian football great Diego Maradona, who passed away recently. This is a tribute, another tribute to the great football legend. It's a painting by Brazilian artists who memorialized Maradona and immortalized a soccer superstar on a wall in one of Rio de Janeiro's favelas. Despite the soccer rivalry between Brazil and Argentina, the neighbors looked on the artist to draw the mural while expressing their admiration for Maradona.
All right, on those heartfelt tributes, we'll end this edition of Breakfast Show here. We'll be back again on a Monday with a fresh dose of a Breakfast Show right in the morning for you. But before we go, a quick reminder of all of you to join our Mask Up India initiative. Remember, it's just a simple task. Wear a mask, but wear it correctly and properly. On that note, we'll end this edition of Breakfast Show here. Have a good weekend ahead. Bye-bye.
Namaskar.